Business as the EXCOM in October 2019, in addition to pledges made by ICGLR, Secretariat, and other organizations totaling to 78 pledges. Following its pledges, ICGLR Secretariat also presented in November 2020 the ICGLR Regional Interministerial Committee the Consolidated Action Plan of ICGLR on eradication of statelessness in the Great Lakes region. Furthermore, the said effort in early 2021, the ICGLR Secretariat with UNHCR launched a regional strategy on protracted displacement, statelessness, and durable solutions. In line with the 2019 March Monyonyo Outcome document, the ICGLR Secretariat also pledged to, at the Global Refugee Forum in December 2019, to develop a comprehensive strategy on durable solution for displaced persons in the Great Lakes region. This year, from 31st January to 1st of February 2023, ICGLR organized, in cooperation with UNHCR, EU, and REDES, a peer learning event on comprehensive durable solutions for refugees in the Great Lakes region, and it was hosted by Burundi. Participants in the said event discussed situations and prospects for durable solution for refugees. Honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, we must focus on advancing durable solutions that provide refugees with long-term stability and security. This includes supporting efforts to promote peace and stability in the region, as well as providing refugees with access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities. We must also work to ensure that refugees are able to return to their homes and communities in safety and dignity. This requires addressing the root causes of displacement and refugee problem, including conflict, prosecution, and human rights abuses, together with addressing also problems of climate change and natural disasters. We have to recognize that refugees are not just victims, but also valuable members of our communities. By embracing diversity and promoting inclusion, we can create more just and equitable society for all. The ICGL Secretariat stands ready to reinforce its cooperation with IGAD-EAC, UNHCR, IOM, and other development partners to promote the effectiveness of the durable solutions for forcibly displaced persons and to ensure access to proofs of legal identity for all. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, ICGLR Secretariat also wishes to work more closely with other regional organizations to create synergies to address forcibly displaced persons and problems of refugees. By working together, we can create brighter future for refugees and for all those affected by crisis. Thank you very much, and merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Great Lakes. Can I get statement from African Union? Make sure that your written statement is available to the Secretariat so that they are compiled in the document. Otherwise, I would expect you to only give really summary of what you, within 3 minutes, so that we have enough time. Okay. Two will be okay. After lunch, then we come to closing and signing.
The microphone is not on. Kindly press the button.
Please be kind to the East African Union. Ensure that their voices are heard.
Thank you, team. Thank you very much, Michael.
Can I repeat? Honorable Hilary Onek, Minister of Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugee, distinguished ministers of the member states of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development and the East African Community, Excellency Fassia Alwen, representative of the IGAD Executive Secretary, Dr. Irene Charles Isaka, Secretary General of IGAD-EAC, Ambassador Yassir Mohamed, Deputy Executive Secretary of the International Conference on the Great Lakes Regions, representative of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, ladies and gentlemen, representative of the diplomatic corps, distinguished experts from IGAD and East African Community member states, ladies and gentlemen, it is a real pleasure and an honor for the African Union to participate here in Kampala in this important high-level ministerial conference on durable solution for refugees, jointly organized by the Intergovernmental Authority on Development and the East African Community. The African Union would like to express its gratitude to President Yoweri Museveni and the government of the Republic of Uganda for the very fraternal and warm welcome extended to the African Union delegation since its arrival in this beautiful city of Kampala. The African Union expresses its thanks to the Executive Secretary of IGAD and the Secretary General of EAC for having associated the African Union to this meeting. Ambassador Minata Samate Sesuma, Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development of the African Union Commission, would have liked to personally attend this high-level conference in view of the major challenges it covers for the research of durable solutions to the problem of refugees in Africa, and more particularly to those in the Horn of Africa and East Africa. However, due to previous commitments, she was unable to travel to Kampala. She apologizes and wishes this conference every success. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the African Union welcomes the holding of this meeting and recognizes at the same time the efforts made by IGAD and EAC in the humanitarian sector by convening this high-level ministerial conference on durable solutions for refugees. This meeting fits perfectly with the commitments and advocacy of the African Union. The AU welcomes the holding of this timely and important forum that brings together key stakeholders to address the challenges faced by refugees on our continent. In its efforts to address humanitarian crisis and forced displacement on the continent, the African Union has put in place an arsenal of strong normative frameworks at the disposal of its member states and regional economic communities. The African Union has indeed put in place one of the most progressive legal frameworks on refugees, the 1969 OAU Refugee Convention, which is considered as the most generous and flexible international agreement on protection on refugees. In addition to the 1969 OAU Convention, the Kampala Solemn Declaration on the Effective Protection of Victims of Forced Displacements, adopted at the African Union Special Summit on Refugee, Returnee, and Internally Displaced Persons on 23rd October 2009 here in Kampala, Uganda, pledged to create an enabling environment for refugees and internally displaced persons, thus strengthening the legal arsenal protecting refugees in Africa. Similarly, the common African position on humanitarian effectiveness in Africa, building on these earlier commitments, takes specific steps to integrate humanitarian needs and displacement issues into national, regional, and local development plans. This implies taking into account the educational, health, and socioeconomic needs of refugees and displaced persons by granting them access to basic services to improve their living condition. It is in this vein that the African Union is committed to working in partnership with other stakeholders to ensure that refugees receive the support they need to rebuild their lives. The African Union also continues to support the implementation of the comprehensive refugee response framework stemming from the New York Declaration on Refugees to create opportunity for self-reliance and inclusion of refugees in national development plans. Ladies and gentlemen, the African Union stresses the need for durable solutions that address the root causes of displacement and promote sustainable development. The African Union strongly believes that durable solutions for refugees must be anchored in peace and security. It is in this regard we underscore the need to silence the guns to ensure that conditions are created for the safe, voluntary, and unified return of refugees to their country of origin. We echo the aspirations of the African Union's Agenda 2063, which call for a conflict-free Africa, where people live in peace and security. The African Union remains determined to support the effort of regional economic community and member states in the prevention and resolution of conflicts, including in the region of Africa, which has recently experienced an unprecedented increase in forced displacement of population, mainly due to conflicts in Sudan and in Eastern Africa, Eastern DRC, but also to other multiple causes, particularly in the Horn of Africa. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we wish to reiterate the commitment of the African Union to support efforts aimed at finding durable solutions for refugees based on creating of opportunity and inclusion of refugees in national development plan, but also to promote peace, security, and development. As we all prepare to participate in the second Global Refugee Forum next December in Geneva, the African Union looks forward to continued collaboration with all stakeholders to accomplish this noble mission together. I thank you.
Thank you very much for your conclusion. African Union, I think we are all together. I'm now calling the UN Residence Coordinator to come and give their statement. My advice is, my 3 minutes is holding. Even though you don't hold it, I'll try to intervene. Just for protocol, you say, I align myself with the current protocol, full stop. Everybody is observed. Everybody is part of it, so you don't waste time.
So as guided, I align myself with the standing protocols.
Yeah, very good.
I stand here on behalf of the United Nations system in Uganda at this final ministerial segment of the high-level ministerial conference on durable solutions for refugees to express our sincere gratitude to IGAD and EAC member states for the forthcoming Munyonyo Declaration. These commitments are important to us. They guide us as the UN agencies on the ground on how we will support governments. I extend the UN in Uganda's appreciation to IGAD-EAC and their member states for the leadership of the government of Uganda for bringing together 11 member states, as well as other humanitarian and development practitioners and partners to collectively reflect on the current regional protection environment and root causes of forced displacement. I'm aware that the conference has served as an opportunity to also explore comprehensive, durable solutions for over 5 million refugees and asylum seekers, as well as 12 million internally displaced persons in the region. Over 1.5 million refugees are hosted in Uganda, the largest refugee situation in Africa. Thankfully, Uganda continues to maintain her generosity and continued open-door policy to new arrivals. The heart of the matter, which has been deliberated in this conference, is addressing the root causes and the triggers of displacement, including violent conflict, localized instability and insecurity, prolonged droughts, flooding, and food security that are further exacerbated by extreme weather events caused by climate change. Therefore, the first step to addressing the causes of forced displacement is our coming together in sincerity and commitment to develop complementary national, regional, and international solutions. Durable solutions must be comprehensive and innovative to cater for the needs of refugees in all situations, refugees in transit or in settlement, refugees living in rural or urban communities. Such an approach will require understanding and tackling problems of dynamic conflict situations head-on, putting in place a better early warning system to mitigate risks, and responding with early action to shocks before they turn into a displacement crisis. For facilitating displaced people and refugees to return to their homes safely and voluntarily requires conducive conditions in the countries or place of origin. This involves repatriation, reintegration, rehabilitation, and reconstruction, particularly in post-conflict situations. While this is the most challenging task currently, it is also the most durable of the solutions, especially if the recurrence of mass outflows is to be prevented. Local integration and local solutions, on the other hand, require the strong political will of governments and matching resources. Uganda's leadership around advancing refugees' socio-economic inclusion is commendable. Significant progress has been made on refugee inclusion under the Comprehensive Refugee Response Framework of Uganda. Refugees have been included in national systems and services, including the National Development Plan 3, and in sector plans such as the education and health sector plans and the upcoming census. As part of economic inclusion, refugees are allowed to work, have had access to land for their livelihoods, and refugee children go to school alongside host children. Such excellent results have been achieved in partnership, hence equally laudable are the humanitarian and development partners for their continued support. Despite over 46% gap of funds annually on average for Uganda's refugee response, between 2018 and 2022, humanitarian partners have availed 2.3 billion for Uganda's refugee response, of which, and 112.6 million was delivered by the UN Central Emergency Fund since 2014. In addition, 1.83 billion has been committed to ongoing development projects in refugee hosting districts, with 536 million delivered already. A transition strategy is currently being prepared with greater emphasis on self-reliance and sustainable solutions. Building on these lessons, it is also important to consider the third option of durable solutions, which is resettlement to third countries in the spirit of true burden sharing and responsibility sharing. Resettlements to third countries and complementary pathways represent another key solution to protracted refugee situations in the region. The resettlement countries should recommit to this solution, which is a manifestation of responsibility sharing. It provides an opportunity for refugees with special needs to resume a normal life. Pathways to legal migration must be multiplied to avoid refugees and migrants resorting to traffickers and embarking on unsafe journeys. The Global Compact on Refugees and the Global Compact on Migration have a key role to play. We must also think out of the box and pursue complementary pathways within the region, which include labor mobility and education schemes in the IGAD and EAC subregions. These regional solutions can impact the lives of thousands of displaced persons. Supporting governments to implement durable solutions, of course, requires a system-wide consideration with systemic inclusion of refugees in both humanitarian and development planning and programming instruments. Now, please allow me to share the Uganda UN country team's commitments. The UN family, and that is 11 agencies out of the 29 agencies that are signatory to the cooperation framework, together with the Office of the Prime Minister of Uganda, have recently, in March-April, undertaken a robust consultative process in co-creating the UN's country-level commitments on refugee inclusion to inform the UN Global Pledge 2.0. Interestingly, the process amplified the need for investing more on climate actions, clarifying critical linkages between climate change and access to livelihoods or to decent work for both refugees and host communities. It also underlines the importance of quality funding and applying a humanitarian development and peace nexus approach, including cross-border collaboration. The UN's commitment on refugee inclusion is an ambitious 4-year vision formulated using a development lens to explore durable solutions that are aimed at advancing refugee inclusion, integration, as well as to begin tackling drivers of displacement. It is expected that such an approach will eventually move us from a year-on-year humanitarian response to a multiple-year triple nexus programming and funding. Our commitments are fully aligned with priority themes of the Global Refugee Forum Roadmap of Uganda, and they are broadly articulated around these 4 themes. Firstly, the UN country team will continue to work with the government of Uganda to advance dialogue on durable solutions for identification of solutions and pathways to achieve them. These include strengthening our collective capacities in country in applying the humanitarian development and nexus approach. Second, we will work with development and social partners to further strengthen integration of refugees and climate change solutions in development programs for sustainable solutions. These include, but are not limited to, of course, a focus on resilience and self-reliance, access to labor markets, and economic inclusion of refugees and host communities. Third, our support will focus on advancing localization for enhanced data, evidence, and analysis around refugee movements and intentions for developing credible solutions. Fourth and lastly, we will continue to promote cross-border UN approach to better assess needs and advocate for actions towards addressing drivers of displacement. This means strengthening a UN system-wide approach in the region. As such, the UNCT Uganda estimates that for this catalytic work focusing on inclusion, that we would need about $235 million over a 4-year period. And this, of course, the refugee response annually costs about $800 million. There is a need for transforming the way we work, plan, mobilize, allocate our resources. Our experience shows that piecemeal funding is less helpful in delivering sustainable results. Rather, pooled and unearmarked funds prompt flexibility and joint planning, ensuring effective utilization of limited resources in achieving desired outcomes. The UN family is committed to advance these partnerships with a broad range of stakeholders, IFIs, bilateral donors, regional entities, etc., as we work to deliver our support to Uganda as co-convener of the Global Refugee Forum in 2023. The high-level ministerial conference is therefore a significant milestone for us as the IGAD-EAC countries have come together to take a step forward in signing the Munyonyo Declaration. So congratulations to the gathering for these deliberations, and of course we look forward to the next steps and wish us all success as we continue to embark on this work. And let me end, in April when we had one of these engagements, we had a brilliant young man, Peter Gift, who is one of the leaders in Rhino Camp Settlement, and his quote, which struck all of us, was, "Let us advance on the durable solutions because durable solutions will give us the peace to go back home, and where there is peace, we will go back home." I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the UN country rep. They've always remained our allies in this struggle. Thank you very much. I'm calling now for a contribution from the UNHCR Regional Director. Kindly come forward and thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Minister. All protocols observed. I bring you, honorable delegates, greetings from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. My name is Afe. I'm the Special Envoy of the High Commissioner for the Horn of Africa, not the Regional Director. But I'm pleased to make this statement on behalf of UNHCR. I bring you greetings from Filippo Grandi, who has asked me to communicate how pleased he is with the two regional economic communities coming together in a dialogue to find comprehensive, durable solutions for refugees, and he wishes you well. As his envoy for the Horn, it's an honor for me to attend this conference, and I commend the government of Uganda, IGAD and EAC, for convening this important and timely high-level conference on solutions, which is indeed a pace setter in Africa and globally. Excellencies, this conference comes at a crucial time, as next week on the 20th of June, we will celebrate the World Refugee Day, whose theme is Hope Away from Home, overcoming barriers to refugee inclusion. And as we do that, I think it is important that we remember our brothers and sisters in Sudan. What is happening in Sudan now is totally unacceptable. As we speak today, discussing solutions for refugees and displaced population, as we speak now, Sudanese continue to leave home, seeking for shelter outside Sudan. And in 2 months, Excellencies, 500,000 Sudanese have left Sudan, just in 2 months. And in 2 months, 1.5 million Sudanese have been internally displaced, adding to an already existing population of 3.5 internally displaced population. This is very painful. This is shameful. And I think this conference must send a message to those men fighting there, because there are no women fighting, there are only men fighting in Sudan today. They must send a message that this war must stop. And this conference, I think, must be clear. As a region, we cannot discuss solutions when we continue to displace our people. And I hope that that message can be able to be received by those who are engaged in this war, because it's shameful, it is senseless, and it's not acceptable at all. Excellencies, we thank Uganda for hosting this conference, and we recognize Uganda's lead role in hosting refugees in the region. Uganda has one of the most progressive refugee policies globally, and we thank them for their hospitality, for their generosity, and for graciously opening their doors and windows and every open space to refugees in need of safety and protection. Today, collectively, our region has more than 5.5 million refugees. And in this discussion, in this conference, you are discussing solutions for 90% of the population that we as UNHCR and partners, together with the host governments, continue to assist. So actually, congratulations, because what you are doing is you are seeking for solutions for your own population. Excellencies, the leading root causes of forced displacement in our region has been cited as war, amongst many other causes. We applaud the decision of IGAD and EAC member states to address these pressing challenges. The ongoing peace processes in the DRC, in Ethiopia, in Somalia, in South Sudan, and Sudan are all important in reversing the displacement faced by the citizens. As UNHCR, you can continue to count on our support. The timely adoption of the regional refugee management policies will ensure harmonized approaches that are consistent with international standards. We are ready to collaborate and support the implementation of the said outcomes. Excellencies, we are pleased to have had over the last few days, because we are part of this conversation, the great advancement and successes that have been made in terms of inclusion policies in the IGAD and EAC regions, including the significant progress in health, education, job creation opportunities for refugees. Due to some of the protracted caseloads, and we deal with very many protracted caseloads. In fact, some of the caseloads that we handle are now 30 years, 35 years, and still going on. Many of these refugees, Your Excellencies, have acquired skills. They have acquired knowledge during their stay in the asylum countries that can contribute to the economic development of the countries that continue to host them. But more importantly also, when they return home, they go back with those skills. Labor laws need to be harmonized to allow the full utilization of the talents and skills of these populations through facilitated access to the labor market and waiver for work permits in asylum countries. Efforts should be made to facilitate regional mobility for refugees who are equally EAC citizens by facilitating access to travel documents and exempting them from visas. Thank you very much. And because you are very much affected by this, and I think you need to hear that applause from the affected population. In December this year, Your Excellencies, the world will assemble in Geneva to witness the second Global Refugee Forum, where states are expected to share best practices and present pledges and seek support. We are all proud in this room today to be associated with Uganda as the co-convener of the Global Refugee Forum. This indeed is an honor not only for Uganda, but not only for the Ugandan people and the government, but also for the EAC and IGAD countries. We shall count on Uganda and the region to highlight the outcomes of this conference in Geneva, December this year. The point has been made by ministers for the region to have a common position to present at the Global Refugee Forum. This is very important and indeed necessary. Having a regional pledge will provide opportunities for the international community to show solidarity and provide the necessary support required. And indeed, we have had over the last few days the need for more support. I think this is an important forum that we should all take advantage of, because the support will come, and already we are getting indications from partners that they are more than willing to support a regional pledge when the pledge is more than one country, because then it has more impact and the populations covered are more. And I hope that this assembly will go to Geneva with a pledge as a region and to make an impact at the global stage. Excellencies, once again, congratulations for convening this historic conference, and you can count on the support of UNHCR in realizing the commitments made through the Monyonyo declarations. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for your emphatic contribution to this conference, and we fully accept and align with you in all the deliberations you went through. You said one thing we noted is that we have to send very strong voice as IGAD and East African Community to Sudan to make sure that they stop that senseless wars of egos, personal egos. The people of that country deserve peace. They deserve peace. I totally agree that we voice, and maybe as part of our resolutions, we can have a paragraph, a separate paragraph to extend our disappointment and displeasure to see that senseless war killing our people of Africa is going on in that sub-region. We don't need to die. We need our population. We need them to work and develop our continent. I totally agree with you. I think you members, who opposes this proposal of sending a strong voice? Nobody. So we are in all for it, isn't it?
Excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, officer.
I think we have in the declaration, I understand this, but we have in the declaration not to complicate the things, because already IGAD has the last decision, and this we say IGAD, we speedily the resolution for the conflict. I think this is to the point, and this will be address the problem, the ongoing problem, if we speed it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleague. Since you are also personally also really attached to that, we shall consider your proposal, but we shall urge IGAD to really speed up, and we show our concern to IGAD so that IGAD can deliver our concern to the warring factions. International Organization for Migration, come up and say what you want, what you have in mind. Thank you. IOM.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I align myself with the standing protocol. My name is Sanusi Tijan Savage. I'm the IAM Chief of Mission to Uganda. I stand on behalf of the Regional Director for the East and Horn of Africa, Mohamed Abdika, who is currently in Geneva attending the Regional Directors meeting. Honorable Minister, I bring you greetings from the International Organization for Migration, the UN Migration Agency. However, I would like to start by commending the government of Uganda, IGAD-EAC, for organizing this conference and for bringing us together to discuss durable solutions for refugees and other displaced persons. I recognize the exemplary leadership of the government of Uganda, the open door policy, and services provided to refugees population in Uganda. That sets an example for all refugees hosting countries. Uganda, however, is not the only refugee hosting country in the region. Forced displacement affects all member states of IGAD and EAC. Regional solutions and common policies are clearly needed. IOM's commitment to this search for solution is guided by the Global Compact. For safe, orderly, and regular migration, I also take this opportunity to reference the ongoing global effort to find solution to internal displacement through the Secretary General Action Agenda on Internal Displacements. IOM's support to durable solution for refugees will take place in close partnership with our sister agency, UNHCR, and other partners. As a stakeholder to the Global Compact for Refugees, IOM supports the UN Common Pledge 2.0 process as reiterated by our resident coordinator. We thank UNHCR for their leadership on this important framework and initiative and for their partnership with IOM. As we near the closure of this important and successful high-level ministerial conference, I would like to offer IOM's final reflections. The first is that IOM strongly supports regional efforts to solution, but IOM encourages member states to develop comprehensive policies and practices, not only on refugees, but also on IDPs and migration governance. The second is that our efforts to find solutions for those currently forcibly displaced must also simultaneously prevent future displacements. According to the recent analytical study by IOM and Oxford Economic Africa, 2.6 million people were forced to leave their homelands due to drought, desertification, flooding, and landslide in the East and Horn of Africa region. By 2050, this number could rise to as high as 85 million people. What does this mean? Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, current and projected costs to address loss and damage are enormous, with some sources projecting economic costs in developing countries to be between $290 billion and $580 billion annually by 2030. While we work to provide solutions, we must also increase investment in prevention-oriented activities such as disaster, risk reduction, early warning system, and anticipatory actions. Finally, during this conference, we had several common threads. IOM support the call made during the technical session to increase the focus on access to land, tenure, security, and housing. This is critical for solution pathway and successful reintegration. IOM also offers its support to complementary pathways for refugees to access durable solutions in close partnership with UNHCR. Specifically, IOM offers its support to identifying labor mobility pathways for refugees as part of the broader support to complementary pathways. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as we move forward, it is with great humility that I urge all of us to embrace this shared responsibility. We owe refugees not just humanitarian assistance, but also durable solutions that keep their hope alive. To address these challenges, we propose incorporating best practice from relevant programs in the region and employing a government-led whole-of-society approach to find new and innovative solutions. As I conclude, I would like to note that it is barely a year since ministers and high representatives from IGAD and EAC met in this very hotel and in this very room to sign the Kampala Declaration on Migration, Environment, and Climate Change. Today, the same ministers and the same member states are here this time on durable solutions for refugees. This demonstrates a genuine willingness of member states to find regional solutions for regional challenges. And this inter-rec cooperation, coupled with the backing of the international community, can only mean well for our countries. Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Thank you very much, the IOM representative, and for those wonderful statements that bind us. I'm now inviting the ILO Regional Director to come and make their statements.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I also do stand by the standing protocols, but just one addition, Chair, by acknowledging also the refugees in the room who are with us today. First, let me start thanking EAC and IGAD for having ILO as a partner for this ministerial conference on durable solutions. One important starting point for us is the question that we tend to get as ILO for these meetings. What is the case for decent work? What is the case for employment for refugees and host community? How is ILO contributing to the discussion and to the work on addressing durable solutions for the refugees, displaced persons, and host communities? Our responses for the refugees, for the displaced persons, for all of us in the room, the opportunity to access decent work is fundamental. It adds to the protection and well-being and restoring refugees' dignity and life purpose. Work defines who we are, whether we are refugees or not. Being able to access employment, maintain and expand their skills, and find decent job prevents prolonged aid dependence and extended gaps in people's working lives. Decent work strengthens resilience, enables social and economic rights more broadly, and helps attain durable solutions and social justice. Excellencies, the critical role of jobs and decent work for all, including refugees, is a thread intricately woven into the operations of the ILO mandate. Even before the end of the Second World War, the ILO and its constituents, workers, employers, and governments, were already looking ahead at the inevitable and central importance of the reconstruction of the world torn apart by violence. Reconstruction not only in the physical sense, but also in rebuilding communities, societies, and countries and regions, bringing people together through a shared sense of peace and common good, without which it is difficult to see how we can address the causes of conflict and displacement. We are aware that the length of displacement for displaced persons, refugees, is increasing, and that the care and maintenance approaches lead to keep the beneficiaries on a continued state of dependence, vulnerability to the volatile humanitarian funding. This is why we do welcome this IGAD-EAC approach to have the humanitarian assistance complemented by a development and peace-building approach that addresses the medium to long-term socio-economic dimensions of the crisis, that improves self-reliance, rights, protection, and peaceful coexistence of host communities and refugees alike. Excellencies, ILO's recommendation 205 on employment and decent work for peace and resilience is an important instrument in connecting humanitarian and development work. The recommendation includes the central elements of supporting refugees interventions and essentially seeks to operationalize the ILO's guiding principles on access of refugees and other forcibly displaced persons to the labor market. What are some of the areas that we can engage on as ILO? Through the Prospects Project, the ILO took a national policy, legislative, and regulatory framework and practice review across 8 countries. I would like to share some of the findings, focusing on 3 main areas for your consideration as we move from the declaration to the plan of action. Firstly, is the issue around access to labor markets. It is important and central for our quest for durable solution. For this, we recommend policies and actions that can address the legal status of displaced persons, their freedom of movement, right to set businesses, access to finance, right to join trade unions, and access to employment services, amongst others. Secondly, is the issue of the right to work. And for these thematic areas, we consider actions that include access to justice, freedom of association, and access to social security and protection. Third is the access to training opportunities. And here we would like to re-emphasize the importance of recognition of skills, qualifications, and prior learning. For all this, the ILO is the tools, the technical expertise that we pledge to support you in translating into concrete actions and results. Excellencies, it is encouraging to note that the commitment of IGAD and EAC member states to address not only the consequences of these movements, but also ultimately the cause through sustainable socio-economic development. For our combined work to achieve durable solutions for refugees and host communities alike, social dialogue must be at the core of our strategy, supporting meaningful engagement in the world of work actors, including refugees and their host communities. To this end, I would like to express ILO's gratitude to the organizers for this conference for supporting the participation of refugee-led organizations, refugees, and local governments, and giving them a voice at this conference. Excellencies, as I mentioned at the outset, the ILO is present here to assure you of its collective commitment to work towards achieving sustainable socio-economic development for all, including refugees and host communities. We would like to place on record our sincere gratitude to the government of Netherlands for its support to the ILO flagship program that brings together combined mandates, experience, and expertise of the ILO, IFC, UNHCR, UNICEF, and the World Bank to better articulate a comprehensive socio-economic intervention framework to address the impact of forced displacements, including in the Horn of Africa. We also would like to express appreciation to the government and people of Uganda for hosting this conference. I wish us all success in striving towards the achievement of durable solutions that will benefit all, including refugees and host community. Decent work sits squarely at the intersection between humanitarian action and development cooperation. And decent work is a must for all, including refugees and host communities. Allow me to end the statement by going back to 1919, when the founders of the ILO stated, universal and lasting peace can be established only if it is based on social justice. And as we deliberate on the declaration, let's keep that in mind. Universal and lasting peace can be established only if it's based on social justice. With these remarks, I do thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, ILO. I would like now to call upon the Japanese ambassador who will be representing his country and making a statement at this forum. Japan is a co-convener together with Uganda and other countries at the Global Refugee Forum. So I think his statement will be very important for us to take from and see if our resolution to Global Forum will also capture some of the things that he may mention. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I align to all the established protocols, but I have to say to my friends here, especially Honorable Hilary Onek, my big brother, and Honorable Esther Anyakum, my little sister. My mandate is Uganda. So I cannot talk about all the whole region, but let me try to explain what we are doing here. Thank you for the invitation to the IGAD-EAC High-Level Ministerial Conference on Durable Solution for Refugees. As you all know, and as Honorable Onek said, Uganda is one of the 6 countries participating in the second Global Refugee Forum as co-convenor, along with Japan, France, Colombia, Jordan, and Niger. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to UNHCR's initiative to co-host this forum with Switzerland. Since I came to Uganda in late 2020, I had many experiences related to refugees. My first assignment to sign a bilateral agreement with Uganda was together with Minister of Finance, Honorable Mathieu Kasaija, on a national road improvement project in the refugee hosting area of West Nile. Honorable Onek, this is grant, not a loan. I will never forget this signing ceremony, not only because it's the first assignment, but it's my first time that my speech was disrupted. When I started talking that I thank the people of Uganda, government of Uganda, for accepting refugees, then somebody next to me, Honorable Mathieu Kasaija, suddenly tapped my shoulder. He said, "Let me speak." And he said, "Ambassador, the refugees are our family. We speak same language, we come from the same ethnic group, same history, same culture, blah, 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 blah." He was talking for minutes. So then I had to tap his shoulder and said, "Sorry, sir, it's my turn to make the speech." I also had many opportunities to participate in various projects to support refugees and host communities that are funded by Japanese supplemental budget each year. One of them recently was the Nala Bridge in the Rhino Camp refugee settlement in northern Uganda, Terego district, and which was built together with the UN family, UNOPS. It's one of the good examples. This year again, using Japanese supplemental budget, $4 million was allocated to UNHCR on protection and assistance to refugees within the comprehensive refugee response framework context in Uganda. We also provide assistance to refugees in Uganda through various programs such as JICA, which I think all of you know, and the one which I really like is the rice cultivation project. And many refugees are improving their income using the method which was introduced by JICA. And also, I remember that when I went to Ajumani refugee settlement, I toured together with the UN Women, what UN Women is doing. I saw many, many ladies living better, and they have very, very strong will to become the leader of that community. I recognize Uganda as an exemplary refugee assistance model with its progressive refugee policy and protection of the asylum space in the country. Uganda's generous progress refugee policy and needs for the humanitarian development supports, the government of Japan is determined to continue to support Uganda's solidarity with refugees and host communities. Thank you. The Humanitarian Development Peace Partnership, HDP Nexus, is a concept launched by Japan in 2016. I feel we can expect constructive discussion with Uganda, which has a progressive refugee policy through this concept. Not only limited in Uganda, but also in other areas, I trust Japan's support has been a major force in providing humanitarian emergency aid to refugees in various regions, rebuilding post-conflict states and rebuilding the lives of the returnees. Japan is one of the world's fifth largest contribution of funds to UNHCR. There are many, many Japanese working also for NGOs, JICA, UNHCR, UN Women, UNICEF, and also many other UN agencies on refugees issue. Currently, there are 100 Japanese staff members working in UNHCR in various parts of the world. Many Japanese staff members are also dispatched through the Japanese government JPO, Junior Professional Officer Program, contributing to refugee assistance at the field level. In terms of burden and responsibility sharing, it is my hope that Japan will continue to provide assistance to refugees and disaster victims as a member of the international community. Lastly, I would like to mention about the G7 summit, which was held last month in Hiroshima. In the mass media, it only mentioned about Ukraine, but actually there were discussions about refugees. I don't have the full details, but after I read the Joyce Smith statement, it says that we continue, this is G7, we, to work with the international community towards the second GRF. Another one is we acknowledge generosity of the countries receive refugees. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Fukuzawa Hadimoto. You know, the Japanese names are very straight, so thank you, Excellency. We appreciate your country's contribution to the refugee programs and support that you are giving us. You are most welcome and we are really happy. Now, colleagues, can we stretch on for another 30 minutes? Because we have finished now these statements from the agencies and from the various agencies. Now, what is remaining, we are coming now to ministerial statements. And then after ministerial statements, there will be the reading of the declaration. I was asked whether France can also make a statement. France is absent. They are not here, so there is no France. Unless somebody wants to speak for French, but I think, so there is nobody here. So nobody has come from France. Okay. There is suggestion that we get the 11 statements from the countries that are here from 2 o'clock. Me, I was thinking that we would stretch another 30 minutes and get half of it, and then we come for the remaining half, and then we go to listen to the draft solutions to shorten the time. But if you're hungry, no problem, we can go and eat. And it is now actually 1 o'clock, I think. It's now 1 o'clock. Can we then go for lunch? And we have lunch so that we report back at at 1:45. 45 minutes enough for the lunch, isn't it? Unless you want to make it a heavy lunch, make it up to 2, no problem. Thank you very much. Let's go for lunch. Thank you. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to kindly request that as you exit the room, please pick your coupon for lunch before you leave the room. Please pick your coupon for lunch before you leave the room. Thank you. We should be back here by 1:45. 1:45, please.